Welcome to Bucky O'Hare, the arcade game. I'm your host, Nox Delevely, joined by my good friend Elemental Ogre.
Shh. Story time.
And it's story time.
That's a lot of toys I could have bought. Nah, that's a model you get.
I don't know if they sold that.
Complex and the Evil Toad Empire is planning to enslave the entire Aniverse. Their most ruthless weapon is the Climate Converter. The fate of the Aniverse is in the hands of Bucky O'Hare, brave captain of the Righteous Indignation, and his fearless crew, Mysterious Jenny the Aldebaran Cat, four-armed ex-space pirate Deadeye Duck, android first-class Blinky, Bruiser the Berserker Baboon, and Earth Boy genius Willie DeWitt.
Hey, it's Bucky O'Hare
Hey!
time. This one's definitely been on the back burner for a while, mostly because I kind of didn't want to get to it because I didn't want to close the chapter on Bucky O'Hare in my life, but then I realized that chapter's never really over, no matter how much you think it is.
Bucky O'Hare is... Many people know it from the cartoon that showed.
I definitely know it from the cartoon and the toys.
There was, however, a comic that came out prior. The comic was originally written in, like, the late 70s, I think. It was heavily inspired by Star Wars, which had just recently come out.
Yeah, to the point that there's literally a Green Rabbit character in the Han Solo Star Wars comics pre-Empire Strikes Back. Because, trust me, 3 years from Star Wars A New Hope to Star Wars Empire Strikes Back, there is a weird rabbit hole of information, even of all the stuff they did in between, but on to your thing.
Yeah, before we go too far.
Just, there was a character in that comic series that was a green rabbit. I was like, wait a minute.
It, however, was not the original writing was not picked up to be published until the 80s, of course, which is when stuff like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and all of that was starting to get big and popular. So, this got picked up too. It was originally written in, I think it was written in 6 volumes, originally. And when it was eventually brought over to or re-released in the UK, I think, but they only did 5 volumes instead of 6. And I think much later on, they made an expanded re-release. And that one had like 15 volumes or something, and carried on after the end of the original 5 or 6. So the original writer wrote those original 6 volumes.
Yeah.
He did not have a hand in the expanded 15.
So canonicity's kind of
questionable.
Yeah.
It stayed relatively loyal, though. But the original 5 or 6, it ended with it was a chapter end. It wasn't the end of the entire series, it was just a chapter end.
It's one of those things.
It had kind of a neat ending to it, but of course it had not finished. And the dude even came out like, I've got a volume 2 right here that literally no one ever picked up. And it's frustrating, because this dude loved this franchise and wanted to get it out there, and friggin' nobody cared about it, or the people that did pick it up were like, we like this, but we want to do our own thing with it. So the 15 volumes...
I feel like you could definitely get it self-published today. Easily.
The 15 volumes that came out still did not end the series. Like, they progressed things more, they did a lot more, they fleshed out the universe a lot more, but there was still no definitive end. Then, there was the series, the cartoon.
This is definitely what I remember.
I believe it ran for 1 season.
Yeah, it was definitely one of those, get the blood out of the stone as much as we can for all the toy merchandise, and then...
It did not end, it did not have an ending, and it was canceled. The comic was canceled, the cartoon was canceled, everything was canceled. So it never ended!
Frustratingly enough. But this
This!
This game is like a weird hybrid between the comic canon and the cartoon canon, and it will end it.
It's technically the cartoon canon, but they bring in some little inspirations and things from the comic. And they take that, and it is commonly held as the official end of Bucky O'Hare.
As far as unless the guy actually gets that other thing done, it's the end for me as far as I'm concerned, but...
There was also a web series that carried on for really long and felt a lot like a friggin' soap opera, and it was entirely fan-made, so it's not even remotely canon. So, I just figured I'd put that out there because I know somebody's going to tell me about it.
But anyway, let's get to the game.
So Bucky O'Hare, it follows the crew of the Righteous Indignation, which is the coolest name for a ship I've ever heard. Captained by Bucky O'Hare and his crew. The story immediately, at the very beginning, starts, at least if memory serves, with a human, Willie.
Yep, Willie do it.
Boy genius, neglected by his parents, who manages to create some kind of atomizer or something that opens a portal to a different universe.
An aniverse, if you would.
Dropping him into the middle of the Aniverse and Bucky O'Hare's crew. It's a freaking isekai!
How long were you holding on to that one?
I've been holding on to that one since I looked this up earlier today. It's like, wait, what's this Willie guy's story? Oh, he came here from our... It's an isekai!
I think it's better handled than that.
It is, very much so.
Considering most isekais are like reincarnation tales, where it was more like, I want to get home.
So in the comic, Willie was... sorry that we're not playing the game and where I'm just talking a lot here at the start. I'm almost done, I swear.
Listen, I love Bucky O'Hare. I could listen to this canon all day, but
there's also a lot to know going into this.
Yeah.
So, in the comic, Willie was actually stranded in that universe because his parents came in, saw his friggin' atomizer running or whatever, and was like, "The crap is this?" and turned it off. In the cartoon, he can go back and forth freely.
Yeah.
So at the end of the comic, then that was him going like, and even Bucky O'Hare and everybody going like, and we're gonna help you and make sure you can get home. And unlike many isekais, Willie is kind of unnatural and cartoonish all on his own because he's a friggin' boy genius that built an atomizer in his backyard. And he's a solid member of the crew and a better mechanic than...
the actual engineer they used to have?
Yeah.
That either dies in the comic book or gets transported into a different universe.
In the cartoon. I don't think it's a different universe, it's just really heckin' far away.
Something like that.
And they like, hint that he'll be coming back sometime, but of course the series ends before anything could happen.
Anyway, let's get to some totem.
Anyway. How many credits can I give us?
I can help.
Heck yeah.
It's a lot of...
That's probably enough. This game is shockingly... Okay, there we go.
Okay. We're putting our,
I'm probably gonna go back and forth between Jenny and Bucky.
I think we picked our characters. You're Bucky and Jenny, and I'm Deadeye and Blinky.
Yeah, that's probably gonna be how it goes.
Press start.
No.
Because I love Deadeye Duck. If you...
Troopers begin their invasion of the planet Warren, Bucky's home planet.
The slithering pack of filth bums! Look at them, mateys! How can they do such a thing? Nothing in the Aniverse will be safe from those wart brain toads. Attention all hands, battle stations. Let's croak some toadies!
And them's the original voice actors, too. So
yeah, they brought the cartoon voice actors back for this.
And if you ever wonder, Ogre seems to like a lot of characters that Scott McNeil voices. That's because this is the first character I heard Scott McNeil's voice, and I went like, God, this guy sounds cool.
So one of the things we discovered about this game earlier is it's shockingly kind for an arcade game.
An arcade game that actually seems to want you to play a game.
And, like, have a good time. Like, for one, you have a life bar.
Not necessarily shotgun in an arcade game, but...
Well, it's not a one-hit kill.
Yeah, no.
And the game very well could have been a one-hit kill to eat more coins. But no, you have a health bar, and it's actually reasonably healthy. There's a lot of enemies on screen, but they go down pretty easily. They don't just jump on you and absolutely destroy... I jumped into that myself. That was my own fault. Like, the game is... I mean, I'm gonna die because I'm not paying attention. I did just pick up life, though.
Yeah, it's a really surprisingly kind arcade game.
Yeah, like, it respects your time and just wants you to have a good time.
I'm under the...
There are so many times over the course of this game that we went...
literally did that bonk game last week.
Yeah.
That was literally just a keep feeding quarters into it. Where I swear to God, I think the people programming this were lying to the person saying, like, oh yeah, this is going to be a total quarter muncher, and then went like, let's make a good game out of it instead.
Okay, so I forget who this guy is exactly.
Alligator. I'm assuming he's a mercenary that works for the Toads.
I know Bucky is shockingly gullible and trusting, and he actually trusted this guy to be the ship's mechanic for a time. You know, before he...
Turned traitor.
Yeah. But, like, look at this. We can stun him. He's not just absolutely obliterating us. He's got attacks you can figure out. The screen's not filling with trash just to keep you busy.
What did you do to my people, Alligator? That's a laugh. Captain Bucko's fixing to fry your scales, Negator. Better talk.
Ow! The little furballs were taken to the planet Punk!
And then we were at Planet Punk.
I think the thing that's funny about this that always kind of gets me is that I always had this moment of like...
Get me out of here!
Yeah, we're
already
freeing the
on
rat.
it. This moment of like, you know what? I suddenly realized why I like Star Fox, because Bucky O'Hare kind of just feels like Star Fox.
Oh, there's also a jump button, and if you hold it down, you can even glide in the air, giving you a lot more control on dodging stage hazards and things.
Oh, there's definitely another point we'll bring up when we get there. That's the one point we went like, this game's a lot kinder than it needs to be. I'm really shocked about that, especially considering the game that everyone thinks of for a game for Bucky O'Hare is the NES game, which is notoriously
Oh
tough,
my goodness. Yeah, notoriously hard.
which is a game I own and have beaten.
We gotta help the others too.
And yes, it is notorious for that toughness and deserves that.
Okay, so, Bucky O'Hare is the captain of the ship. You are Deadeye Duck.
I'm Deadeye Duck, I'm assuming the weapons expert, because I definitely remember him manning the guns a lot.
Yeah, weapons expert. He is a crack shot ex-mercenary?
I think you said space
Or
pirate.
space pirate, yeah, well...
Oh, shell shot. Well, I gotta change characters, so... I'm gonna be Blinky!
Yeah, so he was, ex-space pirate, and very much holds on to that mentality. He is not an inherently good person doing good things for good reasons. Like, he's probably better than the Toads, but he is, at the end of the day, here for a paycheck. And actually, to Bucky's, at least as far as my memory recalls, something Bucky actually appreciates is he calls out Bucky's crap.
I definitely remember him being a lot more adversarial with Bucky, not out of, like, a sense of, like, they hated each other, but was more like, you're making a stupid call, Captain.
And, like, again, as far as I remember, Bucky's cool with that. Like, he wants somebody who's going to give him intelligent insight instead of just being a yes man.
Yo.
Okay, so you have a couple buttons. You have a jump button and a shoot button.
You have a bomb button, but we haven't used the bombs a lot because we're stockpiling them for later.
You actually get 2 bombs every time you die, and it does, even though only 5 show on screen, it does not cap at 5. I do not know what the cap is, but it is very high. So if we just forget to use bombs and die a lot, we're just going to come back with like 8 billion bombs. Toadborg. So Toadborg is the... I don't know if I want to say the right hand, but he is the chief, like, warrior, I guess, of the Toads.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like, if they need the guy that can actually friggin' wreck someone, this is the guy they send in. What's the computer's called?
Complex.
Complex. Computer Complex specifically made Toadborg to be like their strongest warrior. Okay, so if you hit attack and jump at the same time, you do a character special, which is, I've got this thing, which actually homes in on enemies. It is real heckin' nice.
I use my shoulder cannon.
And you've got a flamethrower. So this is, mine is real nice because it lets me kind of stand off, to, like, up and down.
I use bolos on Deadeye.
Yeah, and so it lets me aim up and down instead of, like, having to get in the line of fire all the time. He'll be back.
Again someday.
Yeah. Okay, so I am playing as the kind of Bucky's right hand.
Take a look out there! That's a climate converter! Oh no, they're forcing the slaves to build one here too.
They've gone too far. No fly-sucking, slimy, croaking piece of sludge toad is taking over planet Punk. Matey, here's what we gotta do, and we gotta do it fast.